up on, so we might as well make her a good show.
All right, we're live, so you go for it, buddy.
Uh, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another great episode of Chasing Liberty with Jake. And we finally made her back on. We're working through some technical difficulties, but I think we got her ironed out here today. We got lots of good stuff to cover here tonight. One of the things I'd like to cover is a little campaign update with some of the fun stuff we've got going on. I was recently endorsed by the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers 2051. It's an incredible opportunity, and that is going to snowball into some other great stuff. So, great
Okay.
job for the campaign team. Okay, go ahead. What's that?
Is that going to a union type thing or what's that?
National Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. It's a union out of, well, I think it's the biggest electrical union in Wisconsin, if I remember correctly. About
Wow.
5,500 members. So, also meet Friday with the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers 158 Green Bay. So hopefully we can nail down their endorsement as well. I also have started to work some of the local tribes. So I meet on August 2nd with the Mohegan Tribal Council. Very, very excited for that one. I think if there's any group of individuals that really would like the government out of their life, I'm pretty sure we're going to have a tremendous amount in common. So excited for that. What else do I have coming up here? Oh,
Hey,
this Saturday. I will be on the Steve Schrader show on, I believe it's 97.5 WTAQ. That might not be correct. I know it's W. Yeah, definitely looking forward for that opportunity. It's my first live radio show, so very, very excited for that. And things are moving forward quite nicely. Quite nicely.
Steve Schrader show. It's even
Yeah,
on your website under your events. Look at you.
yeah, yeah.
Aren't you cool?
Definitely check out the website www.jakelive2022.com. We've got a whole lot of few dates coming up here where we're going to be out and about in the community and reaching as many people as we can. The trend moving forward, and it's hard to stop. They tried kicking us off the ballot, but they were unsuccessful. So here we are.
Steve Schrader show 97.5 FM or 1360 AM. Look at that.
Perfect, perfect.
Hey,
Yeah, it's
I got
first
I got a
live
question.
radio show.
I got a question
Yeah,
for
hit
you.
me.
I still get these in the mail. So this is from the Wisconsin gun owners. You
Yes,
want
I
this?
just got mine too.
You got one
Hold
too, huh?
on. Yeah,
Yeah.
check it out. Check it out. I got mine.
Hey, when you talk to them, do you want to tell them that I'm not really running anymore because I didn't even try to go out and get signatures?
They didn't leave. Well, they do have on here. Do you support abolishing the ATF? Easy one. That's easy. Do you support the Second Amendment as written? Shall not be infringed. Yes. What else do they have on here?
There's a whole list of questions. I was looking through them too.
Yeah. So some of my replies to this stuff, there, I'm probably going to answer no, but they don't leave me a whole lot of area to explain.
No, they don't. They don't give you any room for explanation. It's all yes or no questions.
Well,
That's
yeah.
what
So it says like, do you support the Wisconsin gun owners to ensure that Wisconsin is a Second Amendment sanctuary state? How about we just repeal the laws instead of adding more legislation? How about we just repeal the laws? Does that not do the same thing?
did getting rid of them.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know, right? Some of the red flags. Hey, if you do make it, can you do me a favor? Can you work on the
sure.
big tech companies to start, doing some of their due diligence behind some of this stuff too? If if I can get screened for, threatened for saying something bad against like Joe Biden or something, I think they can figure out if somebody's making threats on the internet.
Yeah, I think they're being very picky in choosing what they want to enforce and what not to enforce. Um, so
Give
one
them
of
an
the other
example.
candidates, yeah, one of the other candidates I like to work with had an event here in Green Bay, and he was trying to share this event across social media. And even when he was sharing it across Messenger, it was coming up as undeliverable.
Yeah.
So he spent a pile of money. He coordinated all this. He had uh, uh, the regular Joe show was advertised. I mean, the whole 9 yards. I mean, he did thorough due diligence in supporting this and got a grand total of like 30 people to buy tickets. Talk about shadow banning like a
Yeah.
mother. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Really, really incredible. And it's scary to see the kind of power that these institutions have to be able to squash the little man down. And I believe it or not, right before this show started, we had myself and other members of the ex-com of the Libertarian Party of Wisconsin with a Stephen Alacara. I'm pretty sure I pronounced his last name correct, but he's actually a Senate candidate for the Democratic Party. And I was actually kind of impressed with what he had to say. So if you have the opportunity to check him out, definitely do so. Definitely had an upbringing with the Ron Paul movement, so it was pretty cool to sit down and talk with him. And out of all the Democratic candidates, he is definitely an individual that you should be looking at.
Um, hold on for that thought. Dale Drake in the comments. You're pretty close to District 8. You may be in District 8. That's pretty close. I just Googled you and I found out where you live. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, I get.
um,
I don't see any comments.
oh, you can check out the chat. Here, this is Dale said this earlier to you. Um, also, you didn't you go down to you've been talking with some Democrats as well, right?
I talk with everybody. I really do. I stick my nose in everywhere that I can. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I have had some conversations with some of the Democrats out of Brown
What
County.
about Republicans?
Yeah, they're not so friendly.
Because I mean,
But
just because they got Mike right now, right? Because you're up against Mike Gallagher.
yeah, I actually happened to show up at an event and I was for the or the Republicans of Brown County, and I was passing out literature at an event that Mike Gallagher was at, and they didn't take too kindly to that, but that's okay. I said, "Hey, he's still my congressman. I got some shit I want to say," and that apparently was not allowed, and I was politely asked to leave. Whatever. I am still looking forward to debating Mike Gallagher, and it probably wouldn't be in his best interest politically to do so, but I do encourage him to actually step up to the plate and and debate me. I'm here for it. The people deserve a choice, and the people deserve a debate, and I encourage him to not continue to hide behind all of his money because that's what he's going to do. Um, Debate me, Mike. Let's do this. You pick the date and the time. I'll be there. Bring the news stations too, please.
Yeah, he'll never do that. Yeah, it's not gonna happen. That would be awesome. The what was it? The Fad Five, not the Fad Five. That was Duke, right? Um, the five where you get the five best candidates. You know, the Green Party was pushing it for a while. Where you, if you get the
Oh yeah, it's called the final five and the ranked choice voting. Ranked choice voting. Yep.
yeah. So the final five is actually pretty amazing because they say, you know, statistics show if you get five people up on the stage, statistically, you are going to get the best candidate out of those five. And it just goes to show you how many people could get into that. And, you know, it's giving the people a better choice. So when we have two choices, it's hard. It's hard for them to choose that. So you have
But
lesser of two evils, right?
that's the thing. The system is set up to only give you two choices
Yeah.
purposefully. It's really, really hard to get name recognition and notoriety as a third party candidate. An uphill battle. And that was one of the things that Stephen had brought up that I really, really agree with him on is if Congress is in session, you should not be allowed to be fundraising. Get the lobbyists out of there. Period.
You
Let me
you wait
let me
till
rephrase it. Get the bribers out of there. But let's not call it lobbying. Lobbying is a fancy word for bribery. Let's call it for what it is. And people are catching on to this. I tell you what, everywhere I go, everybody, the people are catching on. They're seeing that no matter who they vote for, we still have crazy ass spending. We still have a government that is unaccountable to the people, and that is the biggest on. Is I'm here to help work our government and to build a government that is accountable to the people. Real simple. We can move this country forward if the government is accountable to people and is not accountable to major corporations, major donors. We have a politician accountable to a party that are specifically accountable to the people is the only way we will ever move forward.
Look around. That's why people are pissed
Yeah,
because they're doing whatever they want. Like we're talking about, you've got corruption, conspiracy, you've got elite running some of these laws or making some of them, and the people are being represented, and that's what everybody's pissed off about. Hey, I got a question for you. I noticed there's a certain election coming up, right? They're going to find out through their primaries. Here's what I was sitting here thinking about the other day. So they're going through and doing their primary election, but where are they doing it? At, your shoot right in your towns, your libraries, your clerk of court's offices, all those places. Guess who's paying for that? Taxpayers. So taxpayers are paying
we are.
for all of their primary elections when we shouldn't be paying for that. They should be sponsoring that. They should have to pay for that. They The US is not built around Republicans and Democrats and their, campaigning. We should not be paying for their campaigning. If they are going to quit working from here until election day, guess what? Then they can quit getting paid for that time. If they're not going to do anything, they don't get paid. If I don't go into work for that long, I shouldn't get paid. That's reality. Why should you keep getting that money for doing nothing? Sorry. Yeah.
Right now, Mike Gallagher nothing but campaigning. He's going to campaign from now until the actual election. Now, me on the other hand, I've got a full time job. Okay, so I'm working 40 hours a week plus 40 hours a week plus for somebody else. Plus, I've got a nonprofit organization that I'm organizing. It's a farm, so it's not like it's just a little bit of work. It's a shitload of work. And it's before I get to campaigning. Okay. You want to talk about the cards being stacked against? How Mike Gallagher does the same. See if he can actually work the hours before he goes and starts the campaign. We'll
He
see how
can't
much
work the
he's got.
hours. He can't work the hours he's got.
He's exactly. He's already not working the hours
Yeah.
he's supposed to be working.
Hey, and for everybody watching, we are looking into
And
this
if he was
Restream platform that we're looking at right now. That's why we were a little bit late. We're having some problems with it. I've got emails out to the tech support trying to figure this stuff out. So that's where we're at. So if you see anything or hear anything a little messed up, we're working through it with them. We just like this platform because it goes out to all of our social medias.
yes.
For now, we'll see if we switch.
I like it. I think it's more of an issue with the old country internet that we got going here up in the Northwoods. But we'll see.
Um, yeah, yeah. The Speaking of farms, they're actually farms are protesting across Europe right now. Oh, we just lost him. I was going to ask him a question about the farms protesting over there. Oh, we got the video. We lost you on the video. Yeah, we'll just pop back in. You'll be fine. But that'll be good to get you back because then we can break into some breaking news. I know those are the fun ones. Those are the fun ones. There you go. We got you.
All right, I'm back. Can
Welcome
you
back,
see
buddy.
me? All
Of
right.
course. Of course.
Perfect. But yeah, you mentioned Europe over in the Netherlands there, the Dutch.
Yep.
That's me. That's my homeland plus. So what they did, what they over there, they actually reduced the farmers' ability to use fertilizer by 30%.
Yes.
Okay. Guess who else is doing this? Canada. I've read an article that Canada is trying to do that right now. So at the point where we are actually facing food shortages globally because of this Russian and Ukraine conflict right now, you have governments around the world reducing the quantities of fertilizer that their farmers can use.
Yeah.
Are you serious? You can't even make this up. Why would you do so?
Well, start thinking about it. Where does the fertilizer come from? A lot of your fertilizer was coming from the Russia, right?
Yeah.
Well, now with all the sanctions and stuff on Russia, wait for the breaking news. They are trying to scale it back
Ooh.
so they're not as much dependent on Russia, because Russia's now starting to fight back against Europe and putting some, kind of little collar around their neck to hold them back. So all they're trying to do is break away from Russia a little bit more. So how do they do that? They hurt the people and they hurt the farmers. And that's what they're
This
mad
no
about.
was no different than the sanctions. So we will throw sanctions on Russia here in the United States of America. It really, really hurts our economy. So now we are buying oil from India. You can't even make this up. So it buys oil from Russia for pennies on the dollar, marks it up, and sells it back to us. Are you are you kidding me? And this is what's going to put a stranglehold on Russia. These sanctions are going to bring Russia to their knees. Come come on,
We're gonna
Joe.
we're gonna do breaking news, and we're gonna start in right now with that one because that's awesome. Because you're exactly right. That's exactly what's happening. So
It blows. And then we're selling another 200. I think it was another 200 million gallons or something like that, or 20 million gallons of out of our strategic oil supply over to
uh,
Europe.
mil- million gallons a day that we're releasing just to us. We're also selling it. We just sold some. We just sold almost 1 million barrels, 950,000 barrels to Sinopec, which is a Chinese oil firm. Okay,
I
we
believe
just
he's selling more though too. On top of that, he's got another
he
order that he just sold.
he is. But now also, you know what Sinopec is? Hunter Biden is on the PE firm. They own $1.7 billion into that. So he's selling it back to
Weird.
them. Weird, huh? Follow the money. Yeah. He also was just in Saudi Arabia, and he more than doubled Russian oil gas imports. He wanted, no, I'm sorry, Saudi Arabia doubled their Russian oil imports. And then Joe Biden's like, hey, can you make us more oil? We need more oil. Yeah, we can. They're just buying more Russia, just like India's doing, and selling it back to us.
This is laughable. This is literally a joke. Where
It
they're
is.
so and here's what I'd like to know to push out to the audience. Okay, Joe Biden literally campaigned on ending fossil fuels. Okay, we should not be shocked. However, okay, so now as he's doing this, he is still canceling leases. He just some more leases for in the Gulf of Mexico a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Okay, canceling leases where we can't drill. He's selling what we've got in our strategic oil reserve. He campaigned on this. So when he sits up behind a podium or anybody with his in his administration says we're doing what we can to fix this, that's just a load of horseshit. It
It,
really, really is.
so we're going to stop selling, I believe it's October 31st. We're going to stop doing the million dollar barrels a day. So we're going to say, okay, we're done depleting our reserves for that $1 million a barrel. But now, if you keep selling it, if we don't have enough on hand, we're going to be in trouble because we're going to keep paying for it then. And guess who makes the money?
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't dumped my oil stocks yet. I took a
So
hit when it started dropping, but I'm not. No freaking way. I'm holding on.
think about this. They're going to stop. So when they actually start selling off 1 million barrels a day, that's what that actually drives prices down. And when are they going to stop on that? October 31st?
Yep, right around October 31st, I believe it was. It was a 6 month.
Exactly.
6 month they were going to do that for $1 million a day.
Coincidentally, that happens to be 9 day or 8 days before the election. Prices
Ah,
seriously, they
yes.
literally ran it before the election, so they did this strategically just so that they could keep gas prices low enough before the election. And as soon as the election's over, or even before the election's over, because it's going to be a little bit of a so they're gonna. So by the time that they stop selling it off to the time that they actually see the prices at the pump adjust, will be well after the election.
Yep.
Isn't that crafty?
That is very crafty. That's interesting. I didn't even think about putting it close to election day.
Oh, it's all. There's always a plan. There,
Yep.
it's that. Oh,
It
but
was
we
it was a
the
six it was a
and
6 month venture. I'm trying to put it today. Go ahead. Sorry.
just think of what this fall is going to look like when we have food shortages. I've seen some of the corn crops around here. They were not knee high by the 4th of July. And
Oh,
you
they were
couple
down
that,
here.
they were down there.
Oh, they were chest high by 4th of July. Some of them,
Yeah,
yeah.
they definitely weren't up here. And then it's been a dry season. It's been super dry up here.
We we've been driving through. We drove through like down to Missouri, even down through Kansas. They were growing really good,
Okay,
so
good.
they've been
Whew.
doing good. Yeah. Corn prices have been up though. I I don't know. I'm a dork. I listen to the farm report every once in a while. I don't know why.
I
Yeah,
listen all day long. I'm listening to stupid shit, but you got to
I
stay
know,
up to speed.
one more on the oil here. Let me bring that back up. Okay, so 2 days ago, there's a Russian gas giant called Gazprom. All right, they've already scaled back on Germany. They've been back by 40%, and now they're cutting off Germany by down to 20%. So from where they were, they're only giving them 20% capacity from before this. They are squeezing Germany, which is also squeezing the EU. And do you know what their excuse was? And I don't blame them. They're blaming the sanctions for slowing down the maintenance process because they can't do
Yeah,
the maintenance on the pipeline to get some of those pumps and turbines in there to be able to pump it. So, yeah, they're squeezing them. And prices, yeah, exactly. Europe's going to be hurting. Biden's going to send more oil over there. People are going to have to send more oil over there to compensate for it. Of course, Russia's just going to send it, what, sell it to somebody else, like we just said. So they're squeezing Europe back. So Europe, they know about these sanctions, right? They know they're putting a squeeze on them back. Europe is starting to unfreeze some of the resources that are sanctioned by Russia. Russia is starting to win some of that ground back. Um, Russia is owned by, or some resources owned by sanctioned Russia banks to allow for food and fertilizer trade. So that is starting to be able to start coming back. Oh, look at that. Josh nailed it on the head. Fertilizer, 200% more than last year, round up 300% more.
that's
Farmers
going to be
are getting capped.
devastating. That's going to be devastating in the grocery store. It's going to hurt. It really.
Yeah. Yeah, when
People got notifications. So this is why. So if you actually listen, actually like Russian propaganda or Russian news that's happening right now, Russia
yeah,
calls this a war of Russia versus NATO. Okay, and we have sent piles and piles of weapons over to Ukraine, and they are actually starting to see some of that weaponry show up on the black market. So Ukraine's not using this shit; they're selling it onto the black market.
that
You
is
can't.
awesome.
I mean, well, come on. It's how about we do this, okay? And I will never forget this quote forever. It's a quote from Ron Paul. It was in his "What If" speech. He says, "What if one day we wake up and realize that the terrorist threat that we face is directly correlated to our intervention in the affairs of other countries?" And it is. Okay, this whole conflict that is happening right now between Russia and Ukraine stems from our intervention with growing NATO and not building trustworthy relationships with other countries. If we have free trade, guess what? None of this would be happening. Okay, we developed NATO. We promised to not grow NATO from the 9 countries that it was when it started, and now there's what 23 in there, and they're now looking at stabbing on Sweden and a couple of other the Baltic states that are over there. And what does Russia say on that? If you had the Baltic states into there will be some extraordinary ramifications.
Yeah.
He's being open and honest with what he's going to be doing.
Well, look who funded the Taliban during the Russian war, the U.S. And then we end
Exactly.
up going over with them. Yeah. My wife asked me a couple weeks ago, be like, hey, how long until we're at war with Ukraine? It's
10 years,
been
15
10,
years.
20 years. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
but think about it. So think about this. Even let's bring this over into Iraq. Okay, right now we're still fighting ISIS in Iraq. Okay, we actually used to fund ISIS to fight the Shiite militants in Baghdad, and we
Yeah.
used to fund those same Shiite militants in Baghdad to fight Saddam. We used to fund Saddam to fight Iran. When are we going to stop this? Okay, we
Yep.
are literally creating our own terrorists. Between the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, okay, we displaced over 23 million people. 23 million people lost their homes, fully leveled, zero compensation. Okay. Do you think they're walking around going, God bless America? No. Those are our next generation of terrorists. And I promise you, you are going to see Mike Gallagher on a podium, hopefully standing next to me, debating me. And if not, you're going to see up there toting around how we need more money for defense to fight these same exact terrorists that we created.
Yeah.
Okay. The defense bill, the defense budget, the NDAA of 2023 here is rolling in at $840 billion. Okay. I thought the NDAA of 2022 at $778 billion was a lot, and it was still the most in human history. Now they've decided to outdo themselves yet again at 840.2 billion. At this pace right now, we will be spending almost $1 trillion annually in national defense by the next presidential election.
Isn't it interesting how we go up 80 some $billion when we leave Afghanistan? Our budget increases. And if you look at the lobbying at that exact same time, the lobbying jumped from about $1-2 million just for the 1 year to about 40 to $50 million. The
Isn't
lobbying
that
jumped up.
insane? And what
Yes.
you know, so we literally ended the Afghanistan war, and within 6 months later, what do you know? We're sending weapons over to Ukraine.
I
When's it
quit
going to
following it.
stop? It's
I
it's
quit following it
insane.
because we sent them $40 billion, and then no more than 2-3 weeks later, we chopped on another 40 million, I think it was. Just sent them another 150 million, I think it was. We keep sending them more money. It was 400 million, and then it was 150 million. We keep sending them money on top of the 40 billion that was just approved. So I know. Hey, speaking of, I know this is why do we do this? It's frustrating.
Well, I'm
Um,
sweating. I'm getting ready to pull the rest of my hair out. It's just crazy.
Ukraine and Russia, last one for these guys. Ukraine and Russia just signed a UN-backed deal to restart some of the grain exports, right? Like, all right, cool. We can start getting some of the grain out to the world, start getting some of those food prices down, get back to normal. Hours after the deal, Russia bombed the Odessa port. I don't think it was like less than a day. This is this is a major port for export. They Turkey is now saying that it could be up and running in about a week, but they bombed it. It's like, come on, yeah,
And I think the worst part of this is like Germany right now. Germany's going to feel a major squeeze. Okay,
yeah,
and the difficulty with here's where I got to harp. Literally, Donald Trump warned Germany about this. You can't Russia for your oil. If something happens, they're going to squeeze you right out. These things that continue to happen continue to prove Donald
I
Trump
know.
right. Okay,
Yeah. It wasn't right on everything,
he
but
wasn't
in
right
this
on
particular
everything.
case, yes,
You know, no,
yeah. No,
Don,
he nailed it. He absolutely nailed it. He saw it as a business adventure. He
and
knew it
that's
was coming.
exactly. He saw where the power came from.
Yeah,
That's what he saw. Okay, it's like, for the man and all of his flaws. Every once in a while, he hit the nail right on the.
yeah,
A lot of times he hit his thumb, but when he hit that nail on the head, he hits her square and he hits her hard.
yep, yeah. He's going to be in. Is it next week? I think it's next week. He's coming to Wisconsin.
He is coming to Wisconsin. I was asked if I was going to go and attend, and I don't think I'm going to. I no, if he'd like
I
to meet, I'd like to sit down and shake the man's hand, but I don't think I'm going to be buying a ticket and going and standing in a big crowd.
I'm going to respect that because I think there's a point where you can represent the people, or you can try to, I don't know, not follow the pack. But there's a lot of people chasing that endorsement. And in
Yep.
reality, if we just represented the damn people and did what we're supposed to, do our jobs,
Yep.
right? I don't give a shit about
The
the
only
endorsement.
I like it's and I got the opportunity to sit down with the IBEW 2051, and I had some solid conversations with him because one of the cornerstones of the Libertarian Party is just good ideas don't require force. And I was really actually impressed with these individuals and what they are doing to actually resurrect the image of the unions.
Yeah.
And they have not just now, but have been for a considerable amount of time, actively working to improve that. And here's the cool part. Okay, their membership was pushing back on them because they had just endorsed Democrats all the time. So when I first went and interviewed with them, an entire uh, board. I mean, there was a lot. There was like 20 people. It was a big, huge, long table, and they were all sitting on one side, and there was little old me sitting on the other side. It was pretty intimidating, and they thoroughly did their due diligence. I was really impressed with how in depth and the questions that they were asking. I was even after the fact. I was slotted for an hour, and I was in there for an hour and a half, hitting them with libertarianism. It was great, and I was fully in my element. I had to stop a few times and ask if they wanted me to keep going because I was trying to be polite, and I was had the opportunity to sit down with them a second time. So I mean, they
Cool. You got two.
really, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
they put in a significant amount of effort. They did reach out, interview Mike Gallagher as well, but it turns out that after Mike found out that I was down there, he ghosted them, which is fine. That's okay. But yeah, I'm really excited to build this partnership with these individuals and see what we can't work out into the future here
But
and help be the voice of the people because that's what they were adamant that they were trying to be the voice of their membership. So it was pretty
well,
cool.
you were talking about Mike Gallagher, and I mean, how much does he really care about endorsements? Because he votes established Republicans, right? He's just going to follow the pact, and we know that.
Yep.
Yeah, let's see, there's two bills out there for veterans. They were tipped off to HR 3967 and HB 4673, Wisconsin bills.
Yep.
Helping veterans about benefits, about burn pits, and some of that stuff. And Mike Gallagher voted against them on both occasions. And you start looking at it, it's because they were introduced by one didn't have authors, and the other one was by Democrats. They didn't want to give the Democrats the win, and who got shafted for that? Veterans.
The veterans did.
Veterans did. Yep.
There was two recent bills that just came through Congress that he voted no on as well. One of them was to actually codify gay marriage. Okay. Now, I personally advocate for the government to be fully removed from marriage. It shouldn't be the government's business ever. But as long as the government does stick their nose into it, I'm going to advocate for you to marry whoever you'd like to marry. Okay.
Who gives a shit? What was that? George
Exactly.
Carlin, NIMBY, not in, when he started that. Not in my backyard.
Yep.
Yeah,
Legend. And another
yeah,
one that he just voted no on was the ability to protect women's rights to women to actually get contraception. So you
yeah.
got the Republican Party that is all gun ho on abortion and limiting contraception. The number one thing that can actually help save abortions, you are actually voting no on. I don't understand. Can someone make sense of that for me?
So
I,
here's my thing for those people that are for that, that think that that's a good idea. I just want you to know that you should never be allowed to have Viagra either, because really that's God's will. If you wanted you like that, I'm sorry, you can't get Viagra. You're done.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I,
it's it blows my mind on how politics is literally destroying the country.
yeah,
It is.
yeah.
Okay. This is not what our founding fathers envisioned. This is not liberty that we are promised within the Constitution of the United States. Okay. The only way that we are ever going to fix this is by getting rid of both of these two major parties, period. And their ideas. Their ideas are just garbage.
They
Get them
need to
out of there.
split. There's got to be a change in both parties. The
Yep.
principles that they are behind are good. I think both of them, Democrats and Republicans. But the elites and the big money have corrupted it. And that's the problem. If they
Yep.
can get back to where they're supposed to be, both sides have a decent platform. Some of the things I agree with on both sides, but they're so far away from it. And shit, they have stuff in common. They're not even trying to rely on those either.
They're not even reaching across the aisle. They
No.
refuse to reach across the aisle. But here's how we fix this. Fully honest. Here's how we fix this where everybody can win. We have to decentralize our government. Okay? Decentralize our government, get those ideas and those values that you most believe in at your county level or city levels as close to home. That is absolutely critically important for two reasons. Okay? One, now you have a government that is accountable to the people. Okay? And two, that is where we find the most impact when we actually utilize the government. So the government is now actually accountable and it is working because it is close to home. When it's way out in Washington D.C., think about this. In a country of 330 million people in this country, we have narrowed down solutions to a red solution or a blue solution. Okay, that is beyond that. That's just a terrible decision. That's a bad idea. In general, that's a bad idea. Okay, when you decentralize the government and you start bringing things closer to home, you can actually tap into the ingenuity of 330 million people to actually solve the problems that this country faces. We don't have that right now. What we have right now is 330 million people fighting over two options, and both of them are bad options. We need to completely rethink the entire way that we look at politics and the entire way that we look at government. And we need to decentralize our government, and we need to focus on self-governance. Self-governance is what this country was founded upon. It was not founded upon Republican governance. It was not founded on Democratic governance. Self-governance is what will set this country free to we the people across the world, being free from governments.
We need to get you a soapbox over here. I love it.
Uh,
the
sorry, my
only
throat was getting dry. Kept going.
the only thing, I just want to do it slower. Yes, you are absolutely right on, because you can't make rules and regulations for everybody up here at this level when you can make them more precise down here at this level. And think of it this way: you can have your own rules in your own towns, and you could go to the next town and those rules would not apply.
Yeah.
So that's how towns can start decentralizing. But
Yep.
the only issue that I would see is we don't have the leadership in our towns. Not right now. It'll come. It'll take time, but it's the better thing to do. Yeah.
And that's one thing that I've noticed so far. So as my role as chairman of the party, it is really difficult to find people to run for office. It really, really is. And to be honest with you, it's a lot of freaking work. Okay. So now when you already have
I know.
people that are working their ass off to survive because the
Yeah.
government has inflated our dollar by 96% and then goes through and robs 90% of what's left over, we're all struggling to survive. Now you want us to run for office as well? I understand. I get it. It's
I
a
know.
lot of work. I've been at this for 2 years now. I really started putting this together and organizing this right after the first election, or after the last election in 2020. I had my first meet and greet was let's see, the election was in 2020, so it was January of 2021. I've been at it for that long, and boy, have I come a long ways. I can tell you that much.
I
Definitely gotten a
no
lot
doubt.
spicier.
Hey, I want to do a breaking news on you because you tapped into
Mm,
something here.
all right.
Breaking news. Breaking Wisconsin news.
Oh,
Wisconsin Assembly Republican leader Jim Steineke will resign on July 27th, as of today. Okay.
what?
His quote: lawmakers aren't coming back to do anything before the new session starts in January. So it makes sense to enter the private sector now. He is dropping out because he knows that nothing's going to get done until January. We're in the seventh month. So you're talking 4 more months of nothing getting done, because after they're in campaign mode. They go through that,
Yeah.
and then of course you got the new session. Right as of now, you've got 11 total Republicans have retired this year. 18 assembly members and 6 senators will not seek re-election, Alec Lasry, who was the Bucks owner guy, had millions of dollars. He stopped. He was going against Mandela Barnes, right, running against Ron Johnson. He's out.
Yep.
These people are dropping out. They see the writing on the walls. They see the damage that's happening, and they see that people are getting pissed. And
Oh yeah.
I really hope that they start getting scared because people are angry. I seen it. You're seeing it. I'm done.
This is a time. I had an individual call me today, who's running for state senate,
Keep
and
talking, Jake. Keep talking.
and they're like, you know what? I'm done. They're running with the Republican Party. And they're like, I'm just done with the GOP. I am done. We're coming over to the Libertarian Party. I've had an absolute enough of this. And this is okay. So we have both these parties are broken. You can't fix them. We've had several in the past that have tried to run and try to change the parties from within. It's not going to work. And here's the saying that I tell every single individual that has ever told me to run within the Republican Party or told me to run as a Democrat. I'm like, how does this sound to you? Okay. In order to beat the British, we must join the British. Does that sound like something that makes sense? No, that's not what we did. We locked and loaded and we shot them. Okay. Tyranny and where are the Americans lost a whole ship of tea? Okay, where are those Americans? Okay, where is the give me liberty or give me death? Where are they? And actually mean it. We
Now,
have an opportunity for the first time in human history to have lived without an authoritarian government, an overlord over we the people, and we've let it come back in. We have to start working our government backwards.
absolutely agree. Without bloodshed. That's my only
Yes.
thing. Without
Yes.
bloodshed. Be very careful with that because what's happening with some of the January 6th stuff, they're really going after some of these people. And they're
Oh
really
yeah.
trying to make examples of it because they can see what's happening. Let's face it, they know. They know that they're pissing people off and they know that people are angry.
Yep.
And these are some of the
The,
people, and they're calling them radicals. And really, they're just Americans. Some of them. Some of them are
so
pretty extreme.
yeah, and so here this would be a great time to actually bring up the two principles of the Libertarian Party. The number one principle. Hold on. Uh oh.
Oh, are they on the website?
Hold on, folks. The number one principle
You're
of the
good.
Libertarian Party is a non-aggression principle.
Good. Yep.
All right. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties again. Had another call come in. So the two principles within the Libertarian Party, first and foremost, is a non-aggression principle. Okay. So you can't use force or the threat of force to change political views. We believe in zero violence, non-aggression across the board. Okay. Rule number one. So when you hear me speak about give me liberty, give me death, peaceful protest across the board. But if someone comes at me and I need to be a martyr, I guess so. And the second principle, of
Second.
course, is consent. Okay. So as long as you're not forcing it on everybody and as long as there's consent, we don't care how you live your life. Be free, be independent, live within a community. That's what self governance looks like.
I'm going to throw another breaking news at you.
All
I thought that was pretty
right.
dope, actually. All right. My favorite person, and oh man, I don't know if I can say that any more sarcastic. Well, I probably could say it more sarcastically. So, that semiconductor bill, you heard about this one that's coming up? Okay.
Oh, yes, I have. Mr. Paul Pelosi.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's passed the Senate, just passed the Senate. It's going to the House. Okay. So, I'm like, this is something's rotten in the state of Denmark, right? So I'm like, let's follow the money. And I've always tried to do this, right? Okay. So
Mhm.
let's look at NVIDIA. And this is what Paul Pelosi just got his, well, in media coverage for. I don't think he's got slapped yet. NVIDIA, which is a California company, but they don't build anything like that there. They other semiconductors and other chips and stuff like that go overseas to Taiwan is one place. So when Pelosi wants to go over to Taiwan and China is pissed about that, they're like, no, get her out of there. They're angry. So Nvidia goes to Taiwan, and they signed a contract ended in or started in April 5th of 2022. Just recently, they got this contract with TSMC in Taiwan. So Paul Pelosi got $20,000 shares just called on. Plus, he had 5,000 before. So, dude's sitting on 25,000 shares of NVIDIA. All right. The talk was to pass this $52 billion package, and these $25,000, he just opted out of it. He just sold his shares. Now, interesting, he sold it because NVIDIA, because of the crap that Nancy Pelosi is getting against, he dumped it. And actually, the word on the street is they lost a little over $300,000. I don't believe that through
Really?
my numbers I have here, but because he had to sell early, they're saying that he lost $341. On the math that I have, they made over $600,000. So
So he
I don't
sold the
know.
stalker. I know he spent they dumped a couple $1 million into it, didn't they?
They just sold a couple days ago, brand new, breaking news.
And they sold it now. So he
They
bought and
just
sold real fast.
he had you can do a call option, so you say that you're going to buy a certain stock at a certain price after a certain amount of time. That's a call. And so he did that option, his options trading, and he just picked it up in June. So he had just purchased this 20,000, even though he did it last year. Interesting, he knew exactly when the vote was going to be for the bill, though. I thought that was interesting.
That's
So if the Pelosi's are going to sell all their Nvidia stock right now, I'm actually thinking about putting a put option against Nvidia because if it's going to drop, um, ballpark. How much do you think the net worth of the Pelosi's are? Anybody?
oh, I just heard that the other day. Is it over? I think Paul Pelosi is pushing almost. I want to say a quarter billion. Is it?
Short sell. Yep. 171 million. You're damn close. Short
Uh,
sell. Yeah, you can short sell them. Oh, the 20,
hey,
24.6 million.
DJ, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, yeah. Um, yeah. Fixing the trade policy. So some of the things you can do. Um, there's a trade adjustment assistance. Okay. It gives money to workers. So when workers are out of a job because of the trade deals that we have in America, you can actually get money from our government. So when they make trade deals, and let's say it pushes some steel workers out or something like that, or farms, here's a prime example, you should be able to get money off of the trade adjustment assistance. So we're going to make crappy deals, put people out of jobs, and then pay them for it. Interesting.
How about how? That's just an ass backwards way of doing business
I know. Yeah.
or doing trade. I mean, so we always advocate for mutual beneficial trade. Okay, if it's
Yeah.
beneficial for me, it's beneficial for you. And why exactly is the government the one that is doing the trading when it should be private industries that are doing the trading?
Get out of trades. Exactly.
Yeah, in
We got,
its entirety, just stop it.
I got one more for you after for the trading, but I want to show you this video. Really quick video on Nancy Pelosi.
All right.
I
Yeah,
know. Pelosi files
I
this on
think.
Fox Business. So hopefully the sound comes through and everything. Let's play this bad boy. Get it up here. Yeah. So you couldn't hear that because we're probably a different sound unless you heard it.
Is
But
that
she's
the
like,
one where she was asked and then she put the microphone down?
yeah, yeah. She's like, nope, I'm done. I'm out. Yeah. And Fox News talked about it some more. She was just done.
I
I
can't.
I despise this woman. And then when she pushed that child out of the way so she could get a picture, I was
Yeah,
I can't stand it. Cannot stand that girl.
this this
Anyway,
is this is why our country's being. This is the corruption that we're talking about. When we have our elected official, our elites within this country that are able to run roughshod and able to make backdoor trade deals. Nancy Pelosi's getting caught doing it. She's just sloppy about it. Okay. everyone else is being much more crafty and a whole lot more careful.
Well, she doesn't
Okay,
care. She doesn't give a shit. They know they're not
no.
going to do anything to her.
When's
She
the
thinks
last
she's
time we've
untouchable.
held any? When's the last time we held any politician accountable for violating the Constitution or app?
Breaking news. Former Indiana Representative Stephen Byer has been charged with insider trading.
I did hear this today.
He's
Excellent.
former. He's not current. He's former, which kind of sucks. Yeah.
Yeah.
He got busted with $1.5 million worth of stock purchases that he did. He was making the purchases on like other accounts, like not on his account. So he was using his wife, his kid or son, his cousins, and his mistress. He was using hers. Yeah. So dude made hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I really want to watch this because Martha Stewart went to prison. So she was $46,000. She spent 5 months in prison, 5 months in house arrest, a couple years on probation. I want to see what this cat gets. I am very interested in that. And then,
Keep your finger on the pulse with that one.
oh, I
This,
want to. Yeah, yeah. Nancy or Martha Stewart also had to pay. So she made $46,000. She had to pay $195,000 in a civil case, and her broker had to pay $75,000. So while her trade was $46,000, she had to pay back over 200, about 200. But back then, she was worth almost $1 billion. You know, it was a drop in the bucket.
yeah,
She didn't
yeah.
care. Yeah.
I saw or heard to the DJ Hanson's comment there. I just saw a great little video from Steve Harvey,
This
and he
one?
was asked about how politicians make money. He says politicians don't make money. He goes, no politician around the world makes money to become wealthy. They steal money to become wealthy. It's completely different.
True story.
And that's the
Absolutely true.
sad.
Well, they
And
cheat the
that's the
system.
they do they run roughshod in
Yeah.
the system, and we've even had a lot of it on the Republican side. It's almost like they feel entitled to be able to gain the system just because of the position that they are in.
Yeah.
No, if you don't have the integrity to do your job and to be the representative of the people, you shouldn't be there. And I think the American people are really starting to wake up to the fact that they have to pay attention to who they're voting for. Okay, because believe it or not, we should own this mistake. We're the ones that continue to put them there. We are the ones that have allowed this two-party system to polarize this country to the fact that where we're at right now. And I heard an interesting stat about 6 months ago that it was 50% of people age 50 and below actually foresee a civil war in our lifetime. That's actually
Oh,
changed. That same number, age 50 and below, actually foresee a civil war happening in the next like 5 to 10
yes.
years. Okay. That's terrifying. Okay. At what point in time are we going to stop being Republican and Democrat and start being Americans? When are we going to start looking at our neighbors as neighbors? And when are we going to start treating people as people versus enemies? Okay. It's our politicians and our media industrial complex that have driven us apart. Stop, turn the news off. Okay. These news outlets and stations that you are watching, they are not there to deliver the news. They're there to deliver propaganda in order to sell advertisements. It is always and always has been for decades about the advertisement. They
And to
are
push
going
an
to tell
agenda.
you and to push an agenda, but they are going to tell you the most engaging stories tied to their agenda in order to keep you tuned in to sell ads. That's it. Okay.
The
It is
shock
about
factor.
selling ads. Exactly. It isn't about news. And some of the biggest actual news outlets that are growing up right now are starting to falling off and kicking off. They're screaming because they are being unbiased and actually delivering solid news. There are several organizations that are doing just the news. The Epic Times, great one. Um, ooh,
Yeah.
when the housing market.
Oh,
So
hey,
oh yeah, the
really?
housing market collapse. Yeah. No, I'm just reading DJ's comment here. When the housing market collapses after the COVID, yep.
So,
And I hope we're a long ways away from that, but I don't think we
Yeah,
are.
I don't know if the housing market's going to collapse. I think there'll be some other things. So check this out. The only COVID thing I had for tonight. My favorite one. My favorite one. Anthony Fauci will retire by the end of Joe Biden's term. That
Holy
was like
shit!
the best headline I've ever read. I'm like, that is amazing.
So
Despise that greedy, corrupt. He's
Weasel.
nothing. Weasel. He's part of the healthcare problem is when he takes money from the private sector to make money for himself and money off the drugs and what gets out there and holds back pharmaceutical drugs and he's corrupt, he's corrupt, he's corrupt. COVID done.
So obviously we're gonna have to have a party.
You can have what?
Obviously we're gonna have to have a party.
Oh yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah,
Clearly.
definitely. For a second there I was like, what's the next political party? I don't get it. I was like, libertarian? Now I get the party concept. So well, cheers to Fauci. There you go.
Yep. And I actually just heard today that it was the Piggly Wiggly on Lineville in Swamico is actually now requiring masks again.
Not many people are going to wear them. I think people are tired of it. If people want to wear masks to protect themselves, by all means, put one on. But everybody
Yeah.
else is not going to keep wearing them. I like that.
People are pretty much done with COVID. Yeah, get your shots
Yeah.
if you believe in the shots. You can only beat that dead horse for so long.
Yeah.
And that's what it's come down to. They have gotten every bit of political gain out of that they're going to. And
DJ's
they
actually got something going on here. Biden isn't going to make a full term. There's been a lot of talk about that too. About
but here's the skinny. He has to make it at least to the midterm. Okay. Because statistically, not statistically, but what's going to end up happening is if he for some reason steps down before the midterm, I actually believe it's January. It's not even the actual election. So he has to make
yeah.
it at least to January. That way, when Kamala Harris takes over, she can still run for an additional 2 terms after that. If she happens to take over before January, she's only eligible to run for 1 term. So they're gonna keep beating that dead horse until about January, and I would be more than well. I'm actually shocked he's made it this long. And
I
as a human being, I actually feel really really bad for Joe Biden. Okay,
I I do too, especially when you fall off a bike. But the problem I think is going to be is he's not capable of running the whole term. Democrats don't want him to run again. They do not. They fear that. Polls
no,
show that. But polls also show that they don't want Kamala either.
no,
So, no. So both of them are going to have a tough time, very tough time coming up. So,
and I can tell you right now, if Donald Trump decides to announce early and kind of pigeonhole Joe Biden into running again, we will see a Donald Trump and Joe Biden head off of the 2 oldest presidential, um, 2 presidential candidates running ever.
I know it's. I don't know if we need to get him a horse and buggy or what, but that's not going to
I,
go well with Americans. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah,
I,
yeah.
and that's the thing. Here's what I don't understand. Also, here's another thing. Before we start closing up here, why is it that the retirement age now is what 62 or 65,
You're about 62, 63.
somewhere
Yeah,
around there? Okay,
that's going
but
to change
yet we
soon.
we allow we allow our elected officials to work 20 years past that. Why? If that's the retirement age, you shouldn't be in office after you're done.
I agree.
Okay, but we can't allow
I'd like to
term
get
limits, age limits at one of the two.
I'd like to get them out into the real sector when they're past retirement, so they can actually pass bills that'll help the retirement, help people that are retired instead of screwing them over and stripping their benefits and not giving them crap for Social Security raises.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Um, hey, I want to give you two more breaking news.
All right.
I
Hit me with
This
it.
one kind of made me laugh. So there's this I don't know how to say this. Demi Minor impregnates 2 inmates in a New Jersey prison. So Demi Minor is transgender and was put into a female prison. Um, she, I guess I'll say, was put there for a 30-year manslaughter sentence. She's not eligible for parole until 2037. She's put there for stabbing to death her father, or previous foster father. So she was there as a transgender in a women's prison, got 2 inmates pregnant, and has recently just been transferred to a male prison in June. And she has now filed for complaints because she has been called he over 30 times. So
I
I didn't know what to do, but I thought it was hilarious. I'm like, you're pissed off because you got moved to a male prison. They're going to treat you like shit. They truly are.
yeah,
Shouldn't have screwed up.
and don't get me wrong. When it comes to self governance, it's where I stand with the transgender community. But come on, I mean, what are you guys?
I
Now,
I
what's
was
going
at a
to happen to
talk.
the baby? What's going to happen to the babies? Where are the
I don't
babies
know.
going to go? Are the babies going to get raised in prison? I
I don't know. I'm sure they'll be born and then probably a foster care of some sort, or there might be, depends on their sentence, they may be able to let out. Who knows? But the fact that they she was put into the women's prison without any type of oversight, or any of that stuff, and this was able to happen, I think was a little bit messed up.
what did they think was going to happen? I mean,
Here, DJ. WTF? It's anything to do with the Libertarian Party? Nothing. These are weird ones that I try to throw at Jake to make him speechless.
it makes me
But
speechless a lot.
yeah, and then he's like, "You son of a bitch, quit that." It's fun. Last one I got for you. This has been interesting. I've been kind of playing around and tracking this. The third set of human remains have been found out of Lake Mead. So this is Lake Mead right out of Vegas, and I've talked about this before. As
Yeah.
the lake's been dropping, they just found a third one in there, and now they're looking at all the connections back to the mob in the 70s or 80s. So there is an ex-police officer podcast that's offering $5,000 for anybody that finds any more bodies. So if you're taking any trips down there, you happen to see anything, get a hold of this podcast. I just read the article. I didn't get your name, but it's an ex-police officer podcast around that area. Let's give them $5,000.
That's crazy.
I
That's
think there's
crazy.
a lot of mob shit going back on in the 70s and 80s down there.
I've
Was that movie Casino?
someone asked me the other day. We were talking about the border, and they're like, "Yeah, we gotta protect our border so the mob stops coming across the border and ruining stuff." I said, "So hold on." I said, let's think about this for a second. So the mob comes into neighborhoods, and they literally bully businesses into paying them money to prevent them from doing what the mob would do to you if you didn't pay them money, right? So isn't that what we pay taxes? We pay taxes to prevent the government from doing to us what the government would do to us if we didn't pay taxes.
Very interesting.
The government is the
Very
mafia.
interesting. Very interesting.
We'll leave you all with that for tonight. So we definitely appreciate you all tuning in tonight to another great episode of Chasing Liberty with Jake while we still iron out the hopefully not extravagant technical issues here, but anybody knew the technological shenanigans we had to pull this here together tonight, you would probably laugh. So if you would like to find out more information on my campaign and check out the calendar and where we're going to be up next in the next coming events that we have, please check us out at www.jakeliberty2022.com. We have some great stuff coming up here in the next couple of weeks. We got some picnics. We've got some tribal councils we're going to be speaking at, some more unions, some meet and greets up in Marinette, another one here in Door County later on in the month of August as we start rolling into September and running really the end here. So if you can contribute to the campaign, you can contribute in 3 ways, either your time, your treasure, or your talent. Campaign donations, or if you would like to volunteer, definitely reach out through the website, or if you have a talent that you could have that helps the campaign out. One thing we are looking for right now is like videographers, somebody that can help put together commercials and build commercials for us so we can get those commercials across social media platforms and push out the news agencies as well. So if you have that skill, please reach out. We're more than welcome to bring you on, and sincerely appreciate that. So thank you all for the support. It has definitely been one of the most greatest adventures in my life with this campaign. And as busy as I am still having the time of my life. So thank you all for tuning in. Meet us right back here, 7 p.m. next week, Wednesday, as we do another great episode with Chasing Liberty with Jake. Thank you all and
And
have a great evening.
and I'm Jess Heisel. I really don't have anything going on right now, and it's so damn peaceful. I'm building a deck. I love it.
We'll call you Jess the Builder.
There you go. y'all, y'all have a good night. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, Jess. You guys have a great night.
Take care, Jake.
Bye bye.